Hello, and welcome back to this Trails of Cold Steel Let's Play with me, SLJ RPG. In the last episode, we defeated the enemy in the underwater waterways and found ourselves coming out in the Ost District, and we've decided to grab some fish and chips from a nearby pub. Meal in hand, we're to Mac's home to enjoy our lunch with a good cup of coffee. If you've enjoyed this so far, please like, please subscribe, and let's carry on. Oh, he's got a siphon. Interesting. Is anyone ever in? I love fish and chips. So this is the capital's famous fish and chips. Expecting it to be delicious, but still I'm impressed. Pub is supposed to be pretty well known for it. I'd admit it tastes good, but at the end of the day it's still greasy comfort food. Better eat it while it's hot. It tastes disgusting if let cool off. Probably still better than wartime rations, though. What food isn't? Coffee seems pretty high class, though. It's got a nice rich fragrance. Do you buy your own beans and grind them? Yes. Looks like my father went out and soaked up not too long ago. Now again, he gets a chance to take some time away from his duties and come back and relax here. He sees his coffee as a small island of luxury in his hectic life, I think. Does sound like something I could see Governor Erkenich saying. He seems like quite a respectable man to me. Indeed. You can hardly imagine a home like this belonging to an important official, like the Imperial Governor. It's tiny. You know, Fee, it wouldn't hurt to be a little less blunt. No worries. As I said, Father and I are communists through and through. He might be a top official, but either of us really saw that as a reason to change our whole lifestyle. Besides, it's not as though we don't have some attachment to this house. Alright. Does seem a comfy place to live, though. Really cozy and relaxing.
There's a photo.
Oh, that.
Aww, look at cute little Machias there.
He does look pretty cute.
He looks like he had such a sweet disposition.
Yeah, before he grew up to be a stubborn old nag.
Stop nitpicking people's old family photos! Honestly.
The governor looks the same as ever, though. Is that woman next to him your older sister or something?
Close enough. She was a cousin on my father's side of the family. Since she lived quite close, she often came to visit. Our family was just my father and I, so having her around was a big help.
The way you speak about her seems to imply you no longer see her. Did she get married and move away?
She died. Around 6 years ago.
Oh.
I see. And that has something to do with why you hate the nobility, right?
Ooh.
So...
I never really planned on telling anyone about this. But considering all we've been through, I suppose it's time I told you a little more about me.
It's about time.
It's a long story, but would you hear me out?
Getting a lot of info dumped on us in this recording session. I think this is episode 6 I've recorded, but yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Glad to.
Thanks. Sis was 9 years my senior. Beautiful, kind. To me, she was in every sense the ideal woman. Now, as I said earlier, we're a family of commoners through and through. But my father proved to be a very capable government official. And eventually, he was promoted to an important government position, where he started to make a name for himself. Honesty and integrity are a core part of his work ethic. So, of course, he made his fair share of enemies. But after seeing success in a number of major projects, he gained a reputation both inside and outside the government. My mother died when I was still young. But Sis happened to live around here and ended up helping us in more ways than I can count.
Did she marry a
Since
noble?
She was his niece, my father always made a fuss over her. And even though she didn't live in the same house, she was like a real sister to me, a real daughter to my father. I was always so proud of her. As a child, she was practically my idol. And as you'd expect, she had countless admirers among the men of the city. But for all her popularity, she was always level-headed and sensible. So I never felt I had anything to worry about. Until he appeared.
See, one of the great families.
He was one of my father's subordinates at City Hall. Though unlike him, he was a noble by birth. A man of high rank, too. The heir of a count. However, he had none of the arrogance or haughtiness one usually associates with the nobility. When I met him myself, he came across as an honest and loyal man. He met Sis when Dad introduced him to her one day, and eventually the two of them fell in love and began a relationship, despite the difference in their social status. As a child, I was frustrated beyond words, but even I had to admit that the two of them made a good couple.
Interesting.
And Sis seemed so happy when she was with him that I had no choice but to let it go and accept their relationship. Time went on and they became engaged, with Dad acting as the go-between. And that's when everything started to fall apart.
What happened? What went wrong?
His family couldn't have been more blatant in their attempts to undermine the relationship. Apparently, one of the four great houses, House Cayenne, proposed an arranged marriage on short notice. And the Count's family were up in arms at the thought he might choose to take a mere commoner as his wife.
Interesting.
Since my father held an important post, they were limited in how shamelessly they could try to sabotage the marriage.
We haven't seen House Cayenne.
But they began to harass and threaten her in secret every way they could think of. They made her life a living hell. Maybe she didn't want to cause trouble for the man she loved, or perhaps she did it out of consideration for my father. But all that time, she chose to endure it alone. She never discussed it or asked for help. And finally, it became so crushing that she took her own life. It was only afterward that my father and I learned what had really happened. It seems that at the very last, he had chosen to betray her love for him. But I told her, he said. I told her I'd treasure her as my mistress instead if she'd just accept that we couldn't be married. I just don't understand it. Why would she take her own life?
And thus he had a reaction. Interesting.
After that, my father seemed to redouble his efforts. It was like watching a machine kick into high gear. With the help of his ally, Chancellor Osborne, he was able to wrest control of City Hall from the noble faction. Then, 4 years ago, he was appointed to his current position as governor of Heimdall. And that's how the Regnitz family came to be where it is.
Interesting.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, that's pretty deep.
So that's why you started hating nobles?
Yeah. I was so furious at Sis's death. My hatred needed to be directed at someone. Anyone. First I blamed her fiancé, then his family, then the family of the Duke who tried to intervene. In the end, I just hated the nobility as a whole. The people, their culture, the entire idea of social classes. I desperately wanted the strength to win against them, to show how right I was, how wrong they were. But deep down, I knew the truth about my hate.
The noble's being real silent right now.
I knew I was taking out my anger on people who didn't deserve it. People who had done nothing wrong.
You did?
They may be from different social classes, but people are still individuals. Sis's fiancé was faithful to her. He just wasn't strong enough to shield her from all that ugliness, despite his love.
I mean, I don't know about that.
And the Count and his family were only acting in their best interests, which is to be expected, really. Ultimately, I've had to acknowledge that not all commoners are good people, and not all nobles are unworthy of respect. Eustace might not have done much to change my opinion, but getting to know you two showed me that there are nobles who live up to that name.
Interesting.
Machias.
I have no idea how my father feels about all of this, but this is how I've come to feel.
I see. You have my thanks.
I'm glad you felt you could talk to us about it.
Undeniably very horrific.
Still, I don't think it hurt to be a bit more honest with yourself. If you're willing to admit all of that, maybe you can find it in you to be friends with Eustace, too.
Are you kidding me? I might accept that not all nobles are bad, but that arrogant, self-centered fool can go choke on a palm. He's mocking me for spending so much time studying, or telling me I need to get out more.
I don't think he goes quite that far. Besides, I don't think he does it on purpose. He doesn't mean any harm.
That's the most irritating part. He does it without thinking.
Well, that was a good coffee break, wouldn't you say?
You would say. Interesting. Interesting, though. Machias can now use the S-Craft ultimate shot. Trails of Cold Steel. This is good. Sounds like fun. But, with that done, well, lunchtime is over. It's almost time for summer festival decorations to start. Would have thought preparations would have started way before now. Summer festival not a big part of the deal? Depends on who you ask. It's one of those small yearly traditions. Major event and extensive preparations. Perhaps those places where the ancient animalistic traditions survive put more effort into celebrating the festival. Animism does seem to be mostly vanished here. Not as much as in Row or Crossbell though. Hard to think of it as a seasonal festival in the capital to be celebrated late to begin with. Glimpse of the Imperial family. Sounds about right. But, is that your Arcus ring? What is it doing out here? So, Cyclast 7. Group A, Reen Schwarzer speaking. Hello there, Reen. This is Gar Rignitz. Hello, Governor Rignitz. He's got himself an Arceus. Be able to use commercial functionality in the city. Figure best to call you. Is now a good time. Totally fine. Actually just left your home. Machias invited us in for coffee. Did he now? Her favourite specialty store. Roast those beans just the way I like them. Top March brew. With all what's going on, it's nice to just sit down and enjoy a cup of coffee. Well, get to the point. I call you because we're in a bit of a problem on the hand. Group A, I'd like to take care of one additional task. What is that extra task, you say? We can do it for sure. What exactly would you like us to do? There appears to be a burglary in the jeweller's street in Garner's. It's not all. The culprit seems to have left a message addressed to you. It's Blanc. No merely is to probe the authorities, but you need to go and see if there's anything you can do. Of course. Blanc strikes again. People seem perplexed. Explain the governor's thing. Jewelry boutique burglarizes. The culprit left a message addressed to us. Weird. Let's head over to the district and see what we can do. So, they boarded the train to the Ghana district. One additional field. We shall see what is this happening, and we shall do that in this episode. But we're not heading to the Ghana district right away. We need to first head to Vancouver Street. And in order to get to Vancouver Street, we need to head into here and say we have finished our operations. So, endurance test, might have taken back. Lady Strager's impressed. Taking a good look at enough batch right now. There's some history. Everyone seems to love Stragers. New course customized and further important restrictions. Made for walking complete. We'll take that, and we get some new Stragers. So let's obviously keep those ones on there. And I want to head to the Augment Center. See what we can do about first exchanging some of these. Sepith Maths' exchange for all that mirror, and then I want to look at customizing our weapons. We don't have loads, so we can customize 2. Let's customize our Zwei Handler, and then let's take the Odd Eye as well in preparation for those things. But with that done, we have one more stop before we go to head out to the thing. We're going to travel to another district. We'll travel to Ost. And we would like to grab that recipe for the fried fish from Gamgee's pub, which he is very much famous for. Talk to them. How'd you like your lunch? Show me your claims to show you the recipe. Recipe for fried fish. We'll take it, and that's what we need. But now let's head over to Garnier Street and see what we can do about our investigation. So, we need to head over to the jewelers in Garnier. See what it is we've got ahead of us. Speak to this lady. What has been taken? Hello. So, Bablanc probably strikes again. Excuse me, are you in charge of this store? We're on behalf of the local government to investigate. Shooting from Thor's Chris Group at your service. Thank goodness. We have a chance to recover the Crimson Tiara. It's the object that was stolen, better with a priceless carnelian gemstones, captivating the hearts of all those who gaze upon it. It's a centerpiece of our display, under consideration to become the national treasure, valued almost 100 million lira. Pretty pricey. Very pricey. Showcase in the center of the room. Best security system you could buy. There was no problem with our recently installed security system. The problem was me falling right into the Phantom Thief Bee's trap. There we go. Of course, the Phantom Thief Bee. All around of rumours. Hard to believe he's actually is doing. Name sounds kind of familiar. Elliot and Macias know of him. He's a thief with quite a reputation in the capital. Calls himself the Liberator of Beauty. Made quite a name for himself with a string of major thefts a number of years ago. He gained an enthusiastic fan following for daring and graceful methods he used during his thefts. Steal the orbital tank from the army. That's one of his exploits. He's well known for leaving victims a card notifying them if he intended a crime before he commits it. Did he send a card this time? He did. Your prize here has already been placed with an imitation. The message was a feint. We do have the utmost faith in our security system. We knew if anyone would get past it, it would be him. We decided to open the space, check the art, and it turns out that's what he was counting on us to do. That's when he stole it. Of course. No ordinary thief. Being valuable this, can you explain how you decided to be the optimal choice for this request? So, call a card from B to this owner's finest Cameron. I know you have the Crimson Tiara security in my possession. Here are my conditions, whereas these should be returned to you unharmed. I make no guarantees. Second, deliver it to the other cards, Group's Military Academy A. Phantom Thief B. They must see this. Okay, so what is it that we have to do? Do you have the other card? Please take this. What does it say this time? Salutations, ladies and gentlemen of Thor's Military Academy. Should you wish to recover this treasure you seek, accept and overcome the trials I have placed before you. All keys lie within Vermilion City. The first key is at the feet of a great conqueror with the heart of a lion. We know where that one must be. So, Conqueror of Hovslang seems like a treasure hunt, and it seems like there is only one way. Let's be off then. There's only one place where that can be, of course. So let's travel to Dreikel's Plaza. This one's really obvious. This one has to be here. There's no other place it could be. So let's go ahead and search good old Dreikel's with his big old beard. So, Conqueror of the Heart of Lion, couldn't be anything other than him. Hard to clue. The Lion Heart, statue himself as a monument. Good place. Let's do it then. There is the card there, of course. Where is this one going to be? We'll check. So, the second key is in the northeastern seat of the Prismatic Palace. I actually would know this because I believe Prismatic is full of prisms, and there was a northern seat near the palace, and I do believe that at Matter Park, at the very least, there was this Prismatic Palace here. So, let's head to the north. The northernmost seat would be this one here, correct?
Just coming here reminds me of last night's ordeal.
Oh, that was an accident. Sounds like we had a rough night. Is this the most northern seat? Where is the most northern seat of the Prismatic Palace? Oh, we can go inside. Interesting. So is there a seat inside of here? That's the question.
There's so many butterflies.
It really gives the place an exotic touch, huh?
Makes it interesting for sure. His hip is all fucked up. This feels like the place, the most northern seat. This feels like it should be the right place. There it is. That's the most northern seat here. This must be the Prismatic Palace. Of course it is. All signposts of the Crystal Garden. Northeastern seat. There it is. Tipped into the side. Very easy. Seems so. Then what was it say? Third key is... At the room where the table one runs to the gauntlets that supported the Eastern City. Goody another riddle, but that also seems... Fate seems ordained that we meet again. Get him! Get him now! Who are you again? He's Baron Blanc. Yes, we met during our field trips studying Berehard, I believe. Très bien. I am most pleased to see that you have not forgotten me. Though if my eyes deceive me, you have 2 new faces among your throng. It's nice to meet you. Heard mention of you from my classmates. Has your search for beauty brought you all the way to Heimdallar too? You could indeed say that. It's not just in Berehard, and amongst the picturesque elegance of the Vermilion capital as well. Truly it seems we are bound together by destiny, most inseparable, would you not agree? I'm not sure. He's a bit on the unique side, huh? Unique, let's just call it that. I can see him coming. I can sense him coming at all, though. Or is it that my overwhelming beauty has clutched your heart so tightly that you cannot help but gaze and wonder? Probably that. I'd bet on the mirror I have on me that's absolutely not the case. Now, if you'll excuse me, there's much I must attend to. Best of luck with your studies. And there he goes. Why does he come to convey to us? But that guy who knows. Yeah, you're guessing it pretty quickly. But, gauntlets, we obviously know the gauntlets are the symbol of the guild branch. So, it makes sense. The former table where the gauntlets protected the city would be up here, and I'm guessing this is where we need to be. So, a lot easier this time. A lot easier. Gauntlets have supported the Eastern City. Bracer Guild, 1 East mission, might as well. 2 such branch, and this is the easternmost branch. Here it is, of course. So simple. Phantom Beef's card. He trespassed on our lodgings. Kind of creepy knowing he was here. We don't know what exactly he's after. What does the next card say? Mono white bird and on the steel bird perched on the water's edge. So, water's edge, port. So, white bird. There's some white crates there. I mean, how is that a bird? But that is on the water's edge, I suppose. Steel bird perched. A crane, of course. So, it's hard to attach any of them though. Ask them to check the containers. Let's see if he's willing to help us. He certainly should be. Card was affixed to the bottom. Phantom Thieves card. And what does it say? How the devil did it get stuck? We'll be able to attach it without lifting the container. He's the master of disguise, so he probably disguised himself as a worker. I guess certainly he might have done it. Definitely not something an old person could pull off. Certainly not. What does it say? So, final key is on the water's edge. The crimson crown you seek sleeps within a black ark, nestled in steel car that marches within minutes. Looks like last one. Now, the only reference is to a car that's going to move, which would put your mind, of course, at the crane. So let's check here. Not crane, sorry, the tram. This is the steel car. That seems like the best fit, marching within minutes. Waiting for its appointed time. Let's have a audition. Do you think you could do us a favour? Sure. The infamous Phantom B hid something in his tram car. And I'm guessing we're going to find... pretty obviously, this crate here. Must be on the Black Arc. It's weird the Darknauts notice it. Let's have a look inside. And of course there is the Crimson Tiara. Such a fiery glow. We gain our Crimson Tiara.
So the tiara really was in there, huh? Now I'm wondering if the last passenger who stepped off the tram was Phantom Thief B himself. I don't remember there being any unusual passengers on board, though.
It's blatantly him.
See. So you have no idea who Phantom Thief B could have been then?
To have done so much and yet left no trace of his presence. He must truly be a master at covering his tracks.
I'll say. But hey, at least we were able to get the tiara back. I suppose that's good enough.
What's wrong, Reem?
Why are you staring at me like that?
Interesting.
I think it's time we put an end to this little charade. Don't you, Baron Blue Blanc? Or should I call you Phantom Thief B?
Interesting.
What? This savory taste is why the unripe fruit is the most delectable of all.
Wait, aren't you the Baron we met earlier? But that mask...
That's the mask of Phantom Thief B.
Allow me to introduce myself once again. I am Phantom Thief Blue Blanc, otherwise known simply as Phantom Thief B.
Love the voice actor.
Baron Blue Blanc is but one of the many roles I have assumed during my pursuits. Incidentally, might I ask when you first discovered my true identity?
It didn't really take much discovering. You went out of your way to show up in the Crystal Garden after all. Now, maybe it's just me, but I find it hard to believe you were seriously trying to hide your identity to begin with. Your disguises? Nothing short of perfect, I have to admit. But with all the work you've put into this, I suspected you might come check on us near the end of your little game.
Ha ha! I see! Excellent deductive reasoning. Simply splendid!
But why would you do something like this? Why go to all the trouble?
It's not that much trouble for him.
Ah, does that interest you? Must there be a motive?
Nah. Now that we know your identity, there's nothing more to discuss.
Theft is a crime.
Indeed. A crime we will not allow to go unpunished.
He'll fuck you all up, I'm afraid.
What spirited youths you are!
What?
How did he do that?
Just a little trick I like to keep up my sleeve. Regardless, you have provided me with plenty of sport and more than enough entertainment for one day. I'll be watching your future achievements with keen interest. Ladies and gentlemen, until we meet again, I bid you adieu.
Interesting. Interesting indeed.
He disappeared again.
That's quite a little trick.
He might still be nearby. Let's search the area.
I'm guessing we're not going to be able to find him. Yep, no trace of him also found. Reported details in City Hall. They tracked down the Jordans return the Tiara. So. Can't believe you were able to recover the tiara safely. How can I ever thank you? Impression that we're using this in the first place. Maybe we should apologize to you. Use all of you a convenient excuse for his latest episode. Given how fixated on us he seemed, I don't think that's all likely. All elemental Sepith. Well, it does make sense. We'll take a butt ton of money as we complete that, but I think this is probably a good place to say. If you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time in Trails of Cold Steel. Peace.